It was question 3A on the admissions application for university, the essay question that asked the standard, are there any significant experiences you have had or accomplishments you have realized that have helped define you as a person? In response, one very aspiring high school senior did not hold back. I am a dynamic figure, he wrote, often seen scaling walls and crushing ice. I have been known to remodel train stations on my lunch breaks to make them more efficient. I write award-winning operas. I manage time efficiently. Occasionally, I tread water for 3 days in a row. I woo women with my godlike trombone playing. I can pilot bicycles up severe inclines with unflagging speed, and I cook 30-minute brownies in 20 minutes. I am an expert in stucco, a veteran in love, and an outlaw in Peru. Using only a hoe and a large glass of water, I once single-handedly defended a small village in the Amazon basin from a horde of ferocious army ants. I play bluegrass cello, and I was scouted by the Mets. I am the subject of numerous documentaries. When bored, I build large suspension bridges in my yard. I enjoy urban hang gliding. I am an abstract artist, a concrete analyst, and a ruthless bookie. Critics worldwide swoon over my original line of corduroy evening wear. Give it a moment. I don't perspire. I bat 400. Children trust me. I can hurl tennis rackets at small moving objects with deadly accuracy. I once read Paradise Lost, Moby Dick, and David Copperfield all in one day, and still had time to refurbish an entire dining room that evening. I sleep once a week, and when I do, I sleep in a chair. The laws of physics do not apply to me. I balance, I weave, I dodge, I frolic, and my bills are paid. On weekends, to let off steam, I participate in full contact origami. Years ago, I discovered the meaning of life, but forgot to write it down. I have made extraordinary 4-course meals using only a cheese grater and a toaster oven. I breed prize-winning clams. I have won bullfights in San Juan, cliff diving competitions in Sri Lanka, and spelling bees at the Kremlin. I have played Hamlet, I have performed open heart surgery, and I have spoken with Elvis. But I have not yet gone to university. Now, I have known a few people like Hugh Gallagher, the young man who crafted this essay that did land him a place at New York University. If I had been on the admissions committee, though, I would have wandered beyond the breadth of his life to its depth. For all his pluck and humor, I would wonder at what lessons he had really learned along the way. I'd want to know if he had come to know that wit is not the same thing as wisdom, that passion is much more satisfying than perfection, and that the list of one's accomplishments, no matter how inspiring or vast, can never get at the true depth of one's existence or be fully a measure of one's worth. In her poem, The Invitation, Araya Mountain Dreamer says, "It doesn't interest me what you do for a living or how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes, without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it is not pretty, and if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand on the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. If I were on the admissions committee, these are the questions I would most want to ask Mr. Gallagher. I would want so desperately to ask because, as I mentioned earlier, I've known so many people like him, and some so very well. In the decade that I was a student at Harvard, I met enough overachievers to last me a lifetime. People who were scary smart, folks who had already written books, invented things, and won all sorts of medals, many of them long before entering kindergarten. Yet for every student, no matter how bright and witty and accomplished they had been before walking through the hallowed halls of Harvard, there would come a moment of reckoning, a moment when it became clear that they weren't necessarily the smartest person in the room on any given subject, a moment when they recognized that others were more talented or more gifted or had just plain worked harder than they had. How students handled that moment of truth revealed a great deal about what motivated them toward achieving their goals. Some were clearly driven towards excellence by the mere challenge, striving to accomplish the highest levels of success in their field for the very thrill of it, climbing the proverbial mountain because it was there and simply there to be climbed. If they failed to reach a particular pinnacle, they shrugged it off, their sense of self still fully intact, leaving the rest of the climb for another day or maybe even another climber. But others, it seemed, could so easily be crushed when scaling the academic heights if they didn't receive the highest grade in a class or gain the undying admiration of every member of the faculty. At times, it was embarrassing to watch, but mostly it was just painful to witness. Much more than healthy competition was at stake. For some students, their whole identity was wrapped up in their achievements as well as their failures. More often than not, what would sometimes come off as obnoxious or insufferable arrogance was really just an awkward attempt to mask deep insecurities. The result was that these students were easily frozen by the paralysis of their own perfectionism, as they gave in to the seductive belief that not only can perfection actually be achieved, but that if and when it is, all will be well, and that they will somehow finally have proven their own worth. While I am relieved to say that I was not one of those students, I do know from firsthand experience that perfectionism can very often masquerade as a quest for excellence. And I know that paralyzing procrastination can point to a deep fear of failure, the fear of failing not to do something or even everything perfectly. I know this from my own life, and I've come to know it from many of yours, as you have shared with me your own struggles. It is a double-edged sword, this quest for perfection. Without it, the world might not have Bach's B minor Mass, the Mona Lisa, or the theory of relativity. And without it, truth be told, many of us might not be where we are today. But perfectionism and the striving for excellence are not the same thing. Where excellence involves spontaneity and taking risks in the pursuit of the best outcome possible, perfectionism often involves rigidity and fear and control in the pursuit of what is so often an impossible standard. Where excellence is often about making the most of the journey, perfectionism tends to be more concerned with reaching the final destination, checking a box, getting the t-shirt. Excellence is what is within our reach. Perfection is that which is usually not. These are points I struggle to remember most days, especially when my inbox is overflowing with messages I can't return and the hours needed to write a wonderful sermon just aren't there. That's why I didn't find it all that helpful as a recovering perfectionist to rediscover the description of the perfect minister. Apparently, the results of a computerized survey indicated that the perfect minister preaches precisely 15 minutes, condemns sin from the pulpit, but is careful never to embarrass anyone, works from 8 a.m. to midnight, and also serves as the custodian. The perfect minister makes $50 a week, great clothes, drives a new car, and gives $58 a week to the poor. While a mere 28 years old, this minister has been preaching for 25 years, is wonderfully gentle, loves to work with teenagers, and spends countless hours with senior citizens. Each day, she or he makes 15 pastoral calls on families, shut-ins, and hospital patients, and is yet somehow always sure to be in the office when needed. This little study has an addendum at the end, and the note says that if your minister doesn't happen to measure up, you can simply forward a copy of this description to 6 other congregations who are tired of their minister's imperfections. Then you just bundle up your minister and send them to the congregation at the top of the list, and within a week, it promises you should receive 1.643 ministers, with at least part of the minister to be perfect. Now, with my time here at First winding down, it feels pertinent for me to say that I am indeed imperfect, sometimes astoundingly so. I have been neither a perfect person nor a perfect minister. And if I'm honest, I haven't really tried to be. For none of us is perfect, not you and certainly not me. While we may strive for the best that we can be and reach for the loftiest and most noble of goals, we need not aspire to the hollow glories of perfection, and especially the false promises of perfectionism. Rather, let us grow to embrace the whole of who we are, imperfections and all, that we might make of our life experience, of our hard-won wisdom, a gift for others, something that even with its flaws can be of service to our world. Some 2 decades ago, when I was on a retreat for people just setting out on the path to become ministers, I was given a magic wand. David Blanchard, the minister and retreat leader who had crafted them for us, explained that these wands should be used for good and not for ill, that they should be used for things that really mattered and not wasted trying to resurrect the photocopier on a Sunday morning. Remember, this was at the height of Harry Potter mania. So David had given them each to us, and then he slowly made his way around the circle to activate each of our wands. And he took mine first and lifted it high in the air with both of his arms, and then he brought it down on his knee and broke it into 2 parts over his knee. With a little smile, he handed the 2 sad and jagged twigs back to me. I was a little annoyed. After all, I had only owned this thing for a couple of minutes, and I hadn't even had a chance to take it for a test drive. But as I fretted away, he continued making his way around the circle, seemingly destroying everyone's wands that he himself had spent hours cutting and sanding and painting. For a while, I thought it was an interesting object lesson in Buddhism, even though I was finding it very hard to overcome my attachment to my new and now broken wand. And then, with everyone's new toys broken, David informed us that while ministry is magical, it is not magic. In the middle of the circle on a small table, he then placed a roll of silver duct tape. He invited us to look at our broken sticks and then promised us that the real magic of our work in the world would come from learning to minister from the broken places in our own lives, through sharing how we manage to put the pieces back together. I keep this, my damaged wand with duct tape, on my bookshelf. For those in the years at 175 who spotted it in my office, you may have thought it was a tacky little knick-knack, but it has been a reminder to me that it is often through life's imperfections, through its struggles and sorrows and sadness, that we work out our best answers to the question of what it means to be human. This insight into the magic of ministry is not limited to those of us who are ordained into this work as professionals. This insight is true for us all. Accepting and even embracing our imperfections and the imperfections of those around us can bring about tremendous healing in our world. And our superpowers sometimes stem from the most unlikely of places within us, those imperfect places that help us to recognize our hard-won wisdom, our shared humanity, and our common vulnerability. So if ever you find yourself writing an application essay and are asked, are there any significant experiences you have had or accomplishments you have realized that have helped define you as a person? I hope that you will celebrate your failures as much as your triumphs. May you honor your imperfections as a source of your strength. And may you remember these words of Eleanor Roosevelt, who said that beautiful young people are accidents of nature, but beautiful old people are works of art. Let us paint boldly then on the great canvas of our lives with each day that we are given. Blessed be.